Who taught us that questioning is disrespectful? Who taught us that questioning, people who are older than us, is disrespectful? And then, of course, depending on your belief system, who taught us that questioning God is a sin or sacrilegious or blasphemous? Who taught us that? And to me, more importantly, who benefits from us believing that to question is wrong? The other day I was, by the way, welcome to Intuitive Parenting. They call me mamaB. And here at Intuitive Parenting, we are focused on breaking the cycle of toxic parenting. And this we do by questioning things that we believe, questioning the parenting styles that were passed on to us and that we pass on to our children. And so this question today of being conditioned that questioning adults is wrong seems to be really toxic to me, because that is where you find that a child is to be seen and not heard. Parenting style, mindset, belief. Shutting down children because how dare they question something. And to tell the truth, if we are honest, a lot of us, the reason we don't want our children questioning us many times, let's tell the truth, is that we don't have the answers that they're asking us. We have not thought through the stuff that comes out of our mouths when we are angry at them for whatever reason. We haven't thought those through. And so when our children question us, we are challenged in a way that we don't want to accept, because we just don't know. Especially if we come from this thinking that because we are older, then we know it all, when we actually don't. But I'm telling you, these kids will ask you things that are so advanced from when you were a child that it catches you by surprise, because now you have to think. So that conditioning, that questioning adults is wrong, shows up actually even in the religious world, where we feel that we cannot question people in the pulpit. We cannot question, of course, because, we're told or we've made to believe that they are favored and they are so close to God that God tells them everything. God has this direct line. They have a direct line with God, and so God tells them. And so when you question them, then you're questioning God. So I think when we examine some of the stuff that we've been conditioned to believe, and in this question today, this mindset of not questioning, it gets cultivated in us from childhood, and then we grow up and we hear it in church, don't question God. And by not questioning God, we are told that you are questioning God by questioning the man or the woman behind the pulpit. So then don't question anything. And the other day, recently, I was with a friend from these circles, the church circles, and we were talking, and God came up, and they were saying how they were confused about something. They didn't understand something that happened, I guess it was in their life. And so I guess wondering why God would allow that. But what struck me was how quick they were to preempt and say, but I wasn't questioning God. Oh, I wasn't questioning God. And so I then responded and said, no, it's okay to question God. It's okay to question. And I said, see, for me, I believe that the capacity to think, the capacity to reason is God's idea. Now, if I believe, that I am wonderfully and fearfully made, everything about me is God's idea. The capacity to think, the brain, the mind, all of those systems are God's idea, and He decided to put them in me. And for me, it doesn't compute that the God who put me together in that way will then have some anger issues or anger management issues. Anger management issues when I use the capacity He gave me. And it was striking to me to see my friend, her whole body exhale. It exhaled. And she started to say exactly how she was feeling, how, she was confused about how God does things. And I looked at her and I thought, wow, it's interesting how we have a knowing inside of us when things don't land well, but our conditioned mind, by those who benefit from us believing that we shouldn't be questioning them, has us all pretzeled, have to pretzel yourself to believe things that just don't sit well with you. And so we do the same thing with our children. We tell them not to question us. And so we struggle in our relationships with our children because it is toxic when we do that. It's toxic when that is done to us. You go to church, for instance, and you hear things that just don't sit well with you, but you have to pretzel yourself and gaslight yourself because the man of God or the woman of God said, and after all, they're so close to God, who are you to question that? Because when you question them, then you're questioning God. And yet God is who gave us the capacity to think. I don't believe that God put me together in the way that He put me together and put you together in the way that put you together. And then says, don't use the brain I gave you. I gave you the brain not to use. I mean, come on, people. Why do we think that? And why are we doing that to our children? Why are we being toxic to them? And so today I just thought, let's have this as a thought and as something to reflect on about how we believe that to question older people is wrong. And of course, by extension, to question God, depending on your religious beliefs, is a sin. Come on. Let's think about these things. So anyway, I just thought that would be the reflection for today, so we could really examine and think about these things. And this week also, another friend sent me a link of someone who posted something on Instagram, and this young mother was asking her daughter questions, and she was using things that many of us remember being told, or those were mantras in our homes. A child is to be seen and not heard. I'll give you things to cry on. I'll give you something to cry about, I should say. And what I loved so much was she would ask, and I have it written here in front of me, so I'll read some of the questions that she was asking, because this was a mother that, after watching her, I thought, wow, she decided to stop and examine some of the things that she has been conditioned to believe, and she is making sure that that is not what comes to mind with her child. So she asked, children should be, and then of course we know that what we usually have heard is children should be seen and not heard, but that child answered, responsible. Just responsible, which means that she hasn't been conditioned, or she hasn't been hearing it in her home. Children should be seen and not heard. And another one is, I love you, but. And the rest of the sentence that many of us have heard is, I love you, but I don't like you. But the mother asking the daughter, I love you, but. She thought for a little bit, and she said, you hog the cat sometimes. You hog the cat sometimes. And many of us, when we hear that part of that sentence, that's how we would answer it. I love you, but I don't like you. Like I love you, but. Like that whole, I love you, but. Okay, so why are you, because when you use but, that means what you just said before the but, forget that. Just delete. And another thing that she asked was, I'll give you something. And we know the rest of the sentence is to cry about. But the little girl said, if I help you, so I'll give you something. If I help you. I just thought, how healthy is that? And another thing, another one is, you kids will be, and of course the rest of it is, you'll be the death of me. Can you imagine? You kids will be the death of me. And the little girl answered, because the whole thing was the mother was saying, I'll give you a sentence and you complete it with whatever comes to your mind, to your heart, the first thing that comes to your heart. And so the mother said, you kids will be, so instead of the death of me, she said, great. Great. And another one, the last one, she asked, I brought you into the world, and the rest of it we all know is, I will take you out of it. But the daughter said, and I love you. Huh? I brought you to this world, and I love you. So think about what that does to these cycles that we are breaking. The cycles that we don't want to pass on to our children. When a parent examines and stops to think about the stuff that was passed on to her, and decides to do things differently. Now, her daughter's generation doesn't know all of this toxic stuff that we grew up on. So that's why we are here at Intuitive Parenting, breaking these cycles by breaking the cycle of toxic parenting by examining The stuff that we just were conditioned to believe, it was just poured into us. You know, people before us did not question anything, so they just poured the stuff that was conditioned in them, and then we just pass it on to our children. So, thank you for being here today. Let's think about that. And I was a little distracted because someone is ringing my doorbell. Don't they know? Don't they know that I'm with my people at this time of the day? Okay, so have a wonderful day wherever you are. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. And I will see you next Sunday. And of course, in about 2 weeks, we're going to have our live with Leah at 1 p.m. Eastern. All right. Talk to you later. See you later. Bye.